what?
47.
7? Right. So which means he no longer
47 in
which
shape.
means you no longer a unk, you a
47
papa.
in shape.
That means you a cooked papa.
Can
You
still-
are no longer a unk. And young men are willing to wine and dine and prepare
They are.
the table for the cooked meat.
They do.
Trust me. The older men sitting back with papa stands like you with their glass in their hand saying, when you gonna serve daddy? When you gonna serve me?
Make daddy a sandwich.
Make daddy a Sammy.
You pregnant?
Paul's like, did we get an exclusive?
Said,
No, I took my IUD out about a month ago so that I can be ready to do my thing.
Congrats.
I'm
I
very
What is
love
that,
that.
the eggs?
The IUD is like,
You took the eggs out
no.
and freeze them?
I have one guy that I have
Yeah,
dated
she's
off and
stuttering
on
now. We
for
got
5
her.
years.
We got her.
We've dated for
Yeah.
5 years off and
So
on.
you was his work for 5 years? You been his work? You still his work? Or he your work?
We working together.
So the D is good.
Oh.
Let's keep it. I mean, that's what it's like, dude. Let's
He
let's
put
keep it
on
100.
his red pajamas and feel like he's supposed to get spicy
This
tonight.
is clear.
There's good men out there that women are not receptive to because their own barriers, issues, and traumas that y'all got to work through.
I don't know if she should be a therapist or a pimp. This is the taking over the game. All right, everybody. Welcome to Truth After Dark.
Do you think that men or women are more toxic? Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of The Truth After Dark with Azar Farideh and Paul. And today, it is only right that we have this special guest on, a leading voice in mental health, best-selling author, coach, and producer behind MTV's Teen Mom Family Reunion. She's known for helping people feel, deal, and heal through her raw transformative approach and her book, Mental Detox. Please welcome Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Ooh, how about that introduction?
Who,
Welcome.
by the way, is not vitamin D deficient.
Oh,
Okay.
I can tell.
Thank you.
I can tell the way you
because
talk.
she's sharp.
You can tell by the
tell- I can
right,
tell by the glow. I can
And
tell
the
by the
boots,
glow.
And the boots.
Oh yeah, you probably gonna get some vitamin D tonight.
You know what I mean? I got it before here. That's why I'm
Oh,
here. And good, ready to go.
okay,
Yeah,
hold on.
anyways, yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. So we're so excited to have you. Like, we had to have you. You always spit that real shit, and I love it. So I'm gonna start it right off the bat because I have to get your opinion on something.
Okay.
So Paul just told me that I was cooked, and he said that all women after 30 are cooked, period. What are your thoughts on
I
that?
think I've seen that.
You
clip.
see that? Because it's
I've
going
seen that
viral, and
clip.
everyone now is in my DMs telling me I'm cooked. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm 34. I get it. I might be a little cooked, but what do you feel about that?
And Paul, you're what? 47?
7.
Right. So which means he no longer a
47
unk.
in
Which
shape.
means you no longer a unk, you a
47
papa.
in shape.
That means you a cooked papa.
Can still-
You are no longer a unk.
Can still dunk.
So what he's doing from a
still
psychological
run a 40.
perspective, is he's self-projecting his papa cooked self on you. Because honey, you're not cooked. But the papas are.
Hello!
They are.
Come through.
You are no longer unk, baby. You are a papa status.
All right.
You
so
know what
listen.
papas do, right? They
What do
watch
they do?
grandkids and cook. You cooked. That's all you do.
No, I don't
Yeah.
watch. I don't have no grandkids, so no.
Her, on the other hand, she's still rare marinated meat. That's what that is.
Hello, rare marination.
She ain't even got to cooking yet. She not even nowhere near the grill yet.
Hello. That's why we was matching.
So for now on, for the entirety of this episode, I'm gonna call you Papa Pierce.
I'll take that.
That's what you gonna get, Papa Pierce.
Papa Pierce is comedy.
That's all
I
you
love
get.
that down.
He don't like it. He looking at you like.
All right, let's start. Let me say something.
Go ahead.
Let me say something. So, I'm a chef too, right? So, I prep. Like the night before. Like right now, I'm marinating some steaks and some ribs, whatever. So, when you marinating something, what that mean? It's not ready, right? It's not ready. It's in the refrigerator, right?
It's called preparation.
Okay, I don't want that.
It's called
Something,
preparation.
all right, so I don't want something that's not ready. Okay, now, once you do the marinating, you do the time, you throw it in the oven. Now it's in the oven, right? It's in the oven, it's cooking. I don't want nobody that's cooking. Like, it ain't ready. It's not ready. It's in the oven, right? So now the time go by and years or whatever. Pull it out the oven. It's done. It's cooked, right?
He even storytell like a papa. Keep
No,
going.
listen.
going.
I like cooked food.
Okay.
So
she's cooked. You like her?
No.
we good.
What I'm saying is, people looked at this as me dissing women.
Right.
No, it's not a diss to
I got you.
I like cooked
You're
food.
saying you like a woman who's cooked,
Who's ready, who's seasoned,
who's experienced,
who
has wisdom.
See, so y'all
Yes,
took it out
who
of
has
context.
wisdom.
But that's
Gotcha.
not what he was
I
saying.
got
Yes,
the
that's
first
exactly
time.
what. Don't
I
tell me
got
what
you.
I'm saying.
What he's saying is that the meat that's marinated is still marinating and it's
Exactly.
preparing for the opportunity. He's saying a woman who is cooked,
Boom.
been there, done that,
Yeah.
has the wisdom, she has the
Boom.
experience, and so he don't have to teach her to marinate. He don't have to put her in the freezer. He ain't got to wait for her ass to come out. He ain't got to put her on the oven and wait for the oven to go. She's ready.
And-
She comes already seasoned, ready, and fresh.
But
So
he's
ladies,
cleaning
no,
it
no,
up
let me- no,
because
no,
last
let me-
time
let
I
me
said
talk,
that.
let me
I like
talk.
Go ahead.
No, listen.
Go
though.
ahead.
And so I'm cleaning it up.
Clean it
So
up.
I'm like,
Clean it up.
listen, it wasn't a knock.
Okay.
It was a tee up.
Exactly.
Come
And I
on.
was waiting for this episode to
Yeah.
like explain it. To like, dog, this ain't no knock on you being cooked. I like cooked food.
Well, so, baby
Like-
girl, he said you cook. That means you seasoned, you ready, you
I
experienced,
mean,
and you
she
wise.
cooked, you cooked. We like cooked food.
We cooked up in here.
y'all ready to go.
And now Papa is cooking. Now
Right,
you're cooking, baby.
right.
Now you're cooking.
Papa Beers.
You ready to go. I got my to-go box. I'm going to throw y'all in that. We going to the
We
crib.
ready to go. I love it.
Okay, clean it
Yeah.
up.
Like that ain't
I'm
that
not
wasn't
mad at
so
it.
that wasn't a bad thing is
Okay,
what I'm saying.
yeah, okay.
But people want to talk to me like I'm down and with no, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good thing. So don't take it. And I know in society and how we word things like, oh yeah, he's saying they washed. Washed is
That's
another
different.
word.
Yeah,
That's
you said
different.
cooked.
I said cooked.
Washed is different.
Washed is different.
Because technically, let me say this because I love what you're saying, Paul. Technically, if a person was to eat that raw uncooked meat,
yeah, you might get sick.
they would become
Come on.
intoxicated with salmonella.
Come on.
So you don't want nothing that's raw. You need it to be fully cooked. So you can actually have a healthy relationship with no intoxication, no dysfunction, and no raw meat that's gonna have your ass sitting in my office, the doctor's office,
Right.
because you ate something that wasn't ready.
Come on. Come
I like
on.
it, Paul.
Sing
why
to
I
the
was-
choir.
That's why I did it. And I was like, oh, they taking this as something that's bad. Nah, this ain't
And
bad.
it's not.
It's not
It's
bad.
not.
If I say you cook, that means you ready.
So listen, young fellas, because I'm 42 and cooked.
Ooh.
Make sure you get you a woman who is cooked,
Hello.
can cook, and will be able to cook. All right? There's a difference.
Bars.
Because from what Paul just said, and I just added to, if she's not cooked, she's raw meat. And anything raw, baby, will intoxicate you. It's not good for your health.
Speak
back.
that.
I'm
Speak
back.
that. Speak that.
Now it makes sense now.
I
huh?
love that. I love
See,
that.
I'm not
Speak
here to
that.
diss women. I'm
I
here to
love
like
that.
say, hey, cooked is amazing.
Come on, cooked is amazing. For everyone in my DM said I'm cooked. It's amazing, baby. That's why when he said that, I said I'm cooked and I taste delicious.
That's why all these young boys,
Come on.
y'all like unseasoned meat. Y'all like
No, it's the older men that like that. It's not the young ones.
That's true. The younger men like the cooked. They like
cooked.
the cooked meat.
They know what's going
Let
on.
me tell you, they know.
It's the older ones who wants that
They,
unseasoned shit.
yes, and then young men are willing to wine and dine and prepare
They are.
the table for the cooked meat.
They do.
Trust me. Them older men sitting back with papa stands like you with their glass in their hand saying, when you gonna serve daddy? When you gonna serve me?
make daddy a sandwich.
Make daddy a Sammy. Make me a Sammy.
Make daddy a sandwich.
Look, while she already cooked, he want a sandwich.
Exactly.
Make daddy a
Come on now,
sandwich.
I'm
Yeah. Like
done.
Anthony Mackie said, make daddy
And
a
but
sandwich.
let me add to that, because a cooked seasoned woman
We'll make daddy
will
a
make
sandwich.
daddy a sandwich.
Right.
Hold on, and then come back and say, more?
Hello.
Or did you need dessert?
I need dessert.
See, that's why you want a cooked woman.
Right.
Because she going to make the sandwich. She going to cook a meal and then say, anything else? Hold on, Daddy. Anything
Preach.
else?
Come on.
Preach.
Is your
Speak
your
it.
glass half empty?
Yep.
We're going to make it half full.
So
What we
now
need?
I'm glad we had a chance to clear this up, bringing Doc on. Listen, I had to explain that because I got a lot of flack. Cooked is good, girl.
And y'all came for me heavy. Y'all trifling for that.
So you youngins or who you oldens or whoever
Oldens.
you is,
Odin, you papas.
listen, cook is cracking.
Cooked is cracking.
Cook is cracking.
It is.
Okay.
It is. It
Okay.
is.
So now my next question for you is, I don't know if you've seen this, but Paul said, I'm coming for Paul tonight. Paul said that marriage is for old and poor people. What do you believe? How do you feel about that?
Well, y'all.
Hold on. Paul, listen. Paul cooked again. Because, he cooked again. He liked cook because he cooking. Studies show that the poor folks who marry. Now, I come from the hood. I come from very humble beginnings, so I'm going off studies. I have no problem with
Long Beach in the house.
right. Yes, but what I'm saying, studies do show that that marriage is more successful, long-lasting, less stressful, and happy when two people actually have money that provides resources for a great quality of life. He's correct.
Talk to him.
Marriage,
Talk
when
about it.
folks who don't have financial stability, which provides resources for a great quality of life, which in return makes it to where your stress levels are low and you can actually enjoy each other, the divorce rate is much, much higher. Much, much higher. Much higher. So, I mean, in reality, back in the day, marriage was a privilege, and it was only a privilege for the folks who were wealthy. That's just the truth of the matter. Like, folks who were not economically stable didn't have the privilege of being able to be married. And when I look back on it, of course, I think marriage should be available an option to anyone without discrimination. But if you really look at it, when two people get married who are not ready, we're not even talking about just mental health-wise, right, emotional intelligence-wise, but economically, they are marrying into a deficit because they are not able to provide each other the full essence of the quality of life that they want in a marriage, even for themselves individually. And I have yet to meet a man, and I say, and I've been in my field 17 years, I have yet to meet a man, no matter how on the lower economic status he was, on the high economic status he was, who did not want to, at some point, be able to provide for his woman. Even if he couldn't, there was something in that man that said, like, at some point, I would love to be able to provide economically for my woman. And when a man can't, it shifts the dynamic in that marriage, and it does put that man in a deficit in many ways. And oftentimes, that man doesn't know how to process those emotions, identify how he feels, and say, listen, maybe I am a little disconnected from you. Maybe you do feel that there is some type of barrier between us that I'm unaware of, but, I'm not able to be at my full potential with you. And so it does affect me. And anything that affects that man is going to affect the entire dynamic of that relationship. And if you have kids, then who is getting the short end of the stick? Those babies.
Absolutely.
And so this is why I always say to people, I'm 42 and I'm not married with any kids yet. I'm ready now. But I wanted to purposely wait till I was educated, until I had my career. I wanted to wait until I was economically stable enough to provide a life for my children and choose a man from not a perfect place, but a healthy place. So that I can say I'm not only choosing a husband, but I'm choosing a father for my kids before I even, procreate with this man. A lot of folks who do marriage early are choosing codependently a partner who can satisfy their trauma in that space.
Ooh.
And they trauma bond. And after that trauma's healed or that trauma shifts, those conditions are gone. So guess what's also gone? The bond. Because if the trauma changes, which is what's the glue to the bond, then the bond has to change. So now we say we outgrew each other. No, y'all never were with each other. You were with each other's traumas.
Ooh.
You don't even know this man.
Ooh. Damn.
Wait a minute.
No.
So
Okay, go ahead.
Go for it, Paul.
you said. Sorry.
What is
So you still want to get married and you still want kids?
What's so funny about that?
No, I'm just saying. Like, I feel
said,
like.
what's so
No,
funny?
I just feel
Yeah,
like.
why was you laughing?
No. This is not a knock. This is just like, I feel like when you get older, like, this is the time to enjoy more life. This is not the time to be like, you should be looking to travel the world, like see the world, because we on the back nine. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the back nine.
You are, not me. Papa, you, not me.
I'll take that.
I'm still
on the back.
auntie.
Yeah, you auntie. But I just feel like once the 40s hit, it should be like, man, you know what? That's all good because, like, you know, kids take up a lot of time. And kids will redirect the relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, and I just feel like for me, it like, this is the thing. I fell in love with what I was in love with the situation, how they were before the kid. And the dynamic of the kid, because you don't have no script for this. When the kid come, the whole dynamic of the relationship changed now.
Especially for the man. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially for the man.
Because now you go, and it's funny because I look in public relationships like how a lot of famous like actors or actresses, like they divorce within the first few years of having kids.
Why, right? Paul, you cook again, I'm about to put your ass back on the grill. What you cooking? Because
know what I'm talking about.
Divorce happens within the first year
Of kids.
of birth.
Yeah.
Within the first year.
Yeah.
That's when divorce happens. And if the folks are not married, that's when separation or breakup happens within the first year of that child.
And I'll tell you why too.
Go for it, yeah.
Like, because like you fall in love, you meet a girl or you meet a guy, you fall in love with like, damn, I love that, you know, how we are right now. We travel, it's sex every day, and it's glazing in your eyes, and we're going here, we're going there, we're going there. So now the pregnancy comes. Those things stop.
Stay there. The pregnancy comes. What does that mean for the man's position in that relationship? Explain that to us as a man.
As a man, you fell in love with what made you fell in love with. Like, we going here, we going there. It's spontaneous.
The spontaneity of doing things, the get up and go, my go-to, my road dog.
My man, let's go. Like, wake up, go, boom, do this. And then all that just stops. And then it's just like, damn, you know, we ain't even doing the same stuff. But like, it changes the whole dynamic, and it's just like, damn, now you get so deep into pregnancy, now the sex stops. And that stops for a minute. Like a minute, and that's what and that the sex ain't what made you fall in love. It's just the whole friendship, all of this, and like you got to go through it. But
the sex is a part of the expression of love.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real, because when we're talking about casual sex, then sex is an act for pleasure. But when we're talking about relationship, marital sex, where like you're saying we love each other, you know, you might go to my ace, boom. That sex is a part of the expression of love now. It satisfies a duality of, okay, physically, yeah, we may orgasm, but emotionally and spiritually, right? This is a way for us to be in tune and connect and be in our space and get our vibe and be in ecstasy together and take ourselves like into an outer body experience sexually. If you're doing it in the way that's not casual and you're really plugged into the person. That's the experience. So you get more than an internal orgasm. You get that external orgasm, and now you have a duality of what you're talking about, that connection that fuses people, not just the orgasm.
Agreed.
And in saying that, when that stops for like months, it could be a year. It's like,
but I want to ask you this, because I've been in my field 17 years. You're hitting the number one complaints I get from all of my married men who come in session with me. What is the impact of the stopping of the intimacy, which is sex and intimacy, the connection with your woman, I get to have her, available and conveniently for me, for us. I want to know, what are the impacts of that on a man for you?
Well, this is what you fell in love with. You fell in love with that. So now that get taken away from you. And then now, not only does that get taken away from you, now from getting 100% of the attention, man, you might go from 100 to now you getting 30%, because when the baby comes, that's like when that comes from a woman, that connection is a different connection now. When you birth a kid, you birth a kid. Like that come from that's like it came from your soul. Like now,
And now that woman has to assume a duality of mama and wife.
yeah,
And the man only
That's
has to
hard.
stay in one role, husband. Because at the beginning of a child's infancy, with all due respect, they don't need you for survival. They need you for presence and love, of course, but they don't need you for survival, right? They
Yeah,
need mom, especially if she's breastfeeding. And so the man, 100%, Paul, gets pushed out of that dynamic, totally out of it. And a lot of women who are either fatherless girls or they had father in the home, because I always say you can have a present parent that also presents trauma. So just because a parent is present doesn't mean that it doesn't present trauma. But if you're also a woman in the household who didn't see your mom navigate mommyhood and wifehood and balance that, then that woman doesn't know how to do that. On top of that, she may be experiencing postpartum. And let me go another route that we don't talk about enough. Men also experience postpartum, but we don't talk about it.
what is that
It's when there is a hormone imbalance, right, from a woman giving birth.
for a man though?
Oh, for a man. Oh, for a man. Oh, it's well, just like you and your woman are connected.
Yeah,
You're in tune. If me and her in a house for 60 days, 3 months, our menstrual cycles end up being on the same cycle. You know that, right? Naturally. Did you know that? If women live together for a short period of time, all of our cycles in the house end up being on the same cycle. We will start our period on the same day.
Even if you just hang out with a woman a lot.
100%.
Like I can hang out with a
100%.
homegirl, kick it with her for a few weeks, like a month, and next episode, like my period will shift.
There you
Like
go.
it was on the 17th, now it's coming on the 3rd because yours comes on the 3rd.
There you go. So if that happens
Yeah.
amongst women who are just girlfriends, how hormonally connected and intertwined do you think you and your woman are, who, let's just say, is your wife and she's having your child?
Damn, I never thought about that.
And so, women do need care around that time. But I always have an issue with that. And again, I'm going to disclaim it again. Women need all the care and support and love around birth and postpartum and all of that. However, men get shut out of also experiencing postpartum and being shut out of the family dynamic because now you're the outsider. And there's a new little bundle of joy that I have yet to meet a man who's not overly excited and in love with their child, but they're also trying to navigate, where do I fit in this equation now without me sounding selfish and crazy, right? And telling her, I feel like you're putting the baby before me, because most men don't know how to express that without feeling guilty, because they're going, wait, but she's supposed to mother my child.
yeah,
And I want my child to not go without this
Yeah. experience.
And I don't want to take the experience from my wife. So then the man ends up being in a position of having to process all that shit on his own, or with his boys, or I'm going to go there with his side chick.
Yeah.
And I'm just keeping it real, because those are all real dynamics. Where a man then ends up stepping out. I'm not condoning it. I'm just speaking what really happens a lot of times. They end up stepping out to get what they believe, or not even believe, their experiences missing, that they're the deficit. To feel that deficit, it doesn't make it right, but we're talking about the reality of what happens. And then what happens with the woman? She's left at home to be a single mama in a house where she has a family.
Ooh.
So she don't have a broken home, because everybody in the house. But guess what? She got a broken family because that house is impaired.
Damn. But like as a woman myself who doesn't have children, hearing things like this does not motivate me to want to have kids.
discourages you, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm cool. Like, I'll just be with my man. We could hit it. We could travel. Like, hearing this, it's like, damn. Like, of course I'm a nurturing woman. I have a motherly instinct. And I've always felt like, okay, I could be a mom and I want to be a mom. But as I get older and I view these different relationships and I see how it makes the relationship so strained and they're so stressed out. Like, I don't know one relationship that did not go through that and is not strained because of that. So it just doesn't motivate me to want to do
with
that.
the right tools, right? And that's why I say therapy and life coaching, that should be a lifestyle.
For sure.
As a preventative measure, not an
For sure.
intervention, right? But to Paul's point in question about being 42 and wanting to be married and me wanting to wait till I was of age is exactly what you said.
Yeah.
With time, you get wisdom. And with seeing things and allowing other people's experiences to expose you to things that help you to have better decision-making skills, it saves you a lot of the bullshit that people are going through in their 20s and 30s when they're married young.
True.
You have kids, right?
Yes.
And can I ask how many?
Yeah, I have 4 kids.
4 kids. Okay. By one woman, just
2.
2. Okay. So you're not with them, I'm guessing. Okay. So I'm not saying had you did it now, you would still be with them, but I know for sure had you did it now, you would, one, have done it differently, or you would have figured out how to do it in a way where you can actually have a family with whoever you're doing it with. That comes with wisdom at the age of your age 47. But at 23 or 30, whether you were thinking family or not, more than likely not.
No, I was thinking family when I had.
Okay.
I was 30 when I started.
Did you get married to either one of them?
Yeah, I did.
You married both of them?
No, the first.
The first, but not the second. Okay, right. So at 47, you don't meet too many men who are procreating with or before marriage. Usually they're in the mindset you just said, I'm 47, I want to travel the world, right? I'm more responsible now because of my irresponsibilities, because experience teaches, words don't. So through your experiences, you learn what to do and what not to do. So men and women become better with age because of their experience. Experience gives you wisdom. Words do not, because they don't teach. So for me as a woman of age, I always want to make sure that I was having my kids in equity, not a deficit, because of my own inability to make good decisions on behalf of them. So at 23 or 30 years old, or maybe even 35, my decision-making may have chose a situation that puts my kids in a deficit. Now, your children are blessings, no matter how you look at it. They just are. But they were still born in a deficit because they didn't get the experience of a full household and a full present father. Even if you were on the road playing ball, that's different, knowing that daddy's out there getting it for our household than it is to say he has kids with another woman. So that could possibly why he can't be here with us in this time or can't be present all the time. Doesn't mean that the kids are doomed. We're just talking about the deficit of something as small as a decision causes. And as we choose, but as we become better, we date better, we choose better, we marry better, and guess what we do? We parent better. And if people take their time, then they can really avoid doing time.
Now, what do you say to the women that feel like, okay, I'm on this time clock? Because I know a lot of people, including some of my own family members, that have gotten pregnant and they were like, you know what, girl, I'm 30 something. I'm just going to have it. Like, even if they're married, they're not, I don't feel that it's like you're so happy or anything, but you're like, hey, I'm this age. I'm just going to have this child now because it's what I should be doing. Or you feel like you're on this biological time clock where you're like, okay, oh my God, I'm nervous. I'm getting of age to where I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Am I going to be able to have children, you know? And I feel like women have that pressure. And another thing is, I feel like women have the pressure of, you know, a lot of the times, even for me, when I've been podcasting or I've been out in the world, it's like, why are you single then? As if it's like, you're not shit because you're single. It devalues you. Like, why are you single? Well, maybe I'm single because I know myself, my standards, and what I actually want. So I'm not settling for anything, because a lot of people I know are doing just that. But what do you say to women who feel that pressure? You know, because you're very confident, 42. You're like, I can have kids. I'm going to get married. And I love that energy. And I believe it. And I love that energy. But I feel like so many women are in fear and they operate out of this fear. And if you can say anything to help them, like that would be amazing.
They're operating out of lack.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say, where's your faith at? Faith is an action word, right? And so for me, I always use Abraham and Sarah in the Bible. God doesn't, you know, he keeps his promises. He says no request returns void. Okay? And so Sarah and Abraham made a request for a child. They were up in their 80s. And Sarah got impatient. And she told Abraham, get the maid pregnant.
Hold on. You said they was in their 80s? Both of them?
Yeah.
It's in the Bible. Look it up.
Bible story. I know
So
this.
Sarah, but this is why faith is an action word. Sarah told Abraham, listen, it ain't going to happen. Get the maid pregnant. He got the maid pregnant. As soon as he got the maid pregnant,
Sarah's pregnant. Yeah.
So Sarah told Abraham, guess what? I'm pregnant now, bruh. Maid, she gotta go. So Abraham, being the good husband that he was, because remember, he's been hearkening onto her voice the whole time. He didn't cheat. She gave him permission to do this. He tells the maid she gotta go. God talks to the maid in the desert and says, listen, you don't know who you're pregnant with. Go back. The maid's like, I can't go back. Go back. She comes back. Sarah has her baby. Guess what's in that household? Nothing but conflict. Nothing but conflict. What is my point? My point is I'm not Sarah. I understand that my request ain't returned void.
Ooh.
And I understand, like the Bible says, be anxious for nothing and make your request be known to God. I'm not anxious about when a child or husband is coming. I don't want anything that's not mine. And I say this, Paul, with no pun intended, when we take things that aren't ours, it comes with the expiration date. Just like those two beautiful mothers of your kids, expiration date. But you still have the kids you have to father. I don't want that situation. So I would rather wait for God to deliver what's mine on his time when I am cooked and not still raw meat and not ready. And if that means I gotta wait till 43 or 44 or call off another wedding, I am okay with that. My obedience is to God, not people.
Come on.
I don't live in dogma. And so if I run around here like Sarah, I will mess up and end up with a man who already got the maid pregnant, which means I don't get an opportunity to have my own family, my own husband. I will have to share him. Why? Because it will be at the expense of my disobedience.
Damn.
It happened really quick with Moses. He freed the Israelites from Egypt. God said, I'll take you to the promised land. But guess what? God kept his promise because he took him to the promised land. When Moses got to the promised land, God said, okay, talk to the rock and I'll have water come out. Talk to the rock. Well, Moses had a temper tantrum, kind of like Sarah, got upset, took his rod and hit the rock twice. Hold on. God still kept his promise because although he told him to talk, not hit, water came out that rock. He took Moses to the promised land. But guess what? Moses and everyone who followed him didn't get in. You know why? Because he was disobedient.
Yep.
So God will always keep his promise and he'll bring you right there. And the moment that you choose not to be obedient after you done went across the Red Sea, you done been in the wilderness for 40 years like Moses and the Israelites. You get to finally where you want to be, Dr. Bryant, at 42, 43. And you mean to tell me when God told you to speak to the rock, i.e. take your time, that you're going to hit the rock just because some outside chatter told you that you 42 and you should be married
Come
already
on.
because you're so successful? Now I'm going to talk to the rock all day long. I'm going to get my water and my promised land. And that's exactly what we're going
And
to
the
do.
Lord said,
Amen. Amen. And guess what I'm going to do? What God says. I'm going to have the witnesses witness me, do all of it.
Come on.
And so I could be a testimony and continue
Come
to be
on.
a vessel for his word
Speak
to
that.
show that we ain't got to be impatient.
Come
but
on.
We do have to be obedient. And
Come
so
on.
faith is an action word. If you ask for it, God will do it. And it's not on your time, it's on his. So once you ask for it, let God give you experience that gives you wisdom, that equips you for what you need to be, with who and where you need to be. Because you got too many people that are not only doing time, but their kids are too, and the mothers are too, because neither one of them took their time to wait for the right time for the meat, like Paul said, not to be toxic, but to be cooked.
Come on now. Now, let me ask you this. Are you okay with a man who already has children? No.
No.
Okay. Why
Deal
not?
breaker. Deal breaker.
Deal breaker for you? Why
because
not?
I want my own family.
And you feel like you cannot have that with a man who already has children.
That is a form of polyamory.
Really? Explain that,
polyamory.
please.
Okay. Polyamory doesn't have to do with us all living in a household together and we're all doing the do. Polyamory is outside relationships that I'm okay with. So if I'm in a relationship with Paul, I have to be okay with him having a relationship with the mothers of his children.
Yeah.
I would hope he does, you know?
Yeah.
Right? So although he's not sleeping with him, or we would want to think he's not, let's just
Right.
take him as being a good man. He's just co-parenting and doing it the right way. Well, when Christmas or holidays come around, or a birthday party or a wedding or graduation, Paul has every right to spend time with his kids. And if the mother is there, I mean, they procreated together. It's not a crime for her to be in the same room as him. That's what co-parenting is, healthy co-parenting is.
Right.
If I agree to that, I am now, or I should be attempting to be healthy with these women, right? If I'm going to love him, I love Paul's kids. So now I'm in a polyamory relationship that I'm agreeing to be in because although you're not sleeping with this woman, we all are a family, whether you want to think of it that way or not. Because if I love this man,
part time.
part-time, full-time.
Because like
Polyamory can be
not,
part-time, full-time. We
Yeah.
can polyamory from 2 to 5 p.m. It don't matter what the
Yeah.
time frame is. It is what it is. So I am not willing to agree to be in a polyamorous relationship because I am a faithful woman.
Damn.
So I'm not going to have a man outside of him to equal out the playing field because technically I'm at a loss. You get to have 2 other families and I get to have you. And what if I don't want to share you on Christmas?
Or
I don't have
any
kids.
day, any
What
day.
if I don't want to share you on your child's birthday? And I'm not saying that's okay. I'm speaking reality. See, people don't want to speak reality. A lot of I've yet to hear a woman who is with a man, even if she has a kid outside of him. Let's say they both have kids outside of each other, who have not said, if it was just us and our kids, it would be much easier.
Absolutely.
And that's even without having baby mama, baby daddy drama. We're talking about the emotion that comes with it. So if I don't want to share you on Monday, January 3rd, because I'm just in my space where I want you. But Lil Paul has a birthday party. And he needs his father.
Yeah.
And I want to support you. So I love y'all. I take you as a package deal. But I don't have any kids. So guess what? You get me 365 days of the year, unless I'm on my speaking tour, or I'm in session healing a client, or I'm here on y'all podcast, and you can even come here with me. You still don't got to share me. So what am I saying is it is an unfair bargain that too many women and men do, because men date women with kids too. And that man may not have kids, and he's also signing up for that. And so as much as people may not want to say it, it definitely creates a wedge between those two people, because this man has already done the most deepest,
intimate
thing you can ever do with another human, which is what? Procreate. See, I can marry you all day long, and you can go do that with anyone else. Once I create a child with you, that is your DNA and my DNA. Where else can you mix us to that depth or that level? Where else can you cleave and woove us into a quilt together? We can't even do that in marriage.
Damn, that's deep.
All right. I got a question.
Yeah.
What's your okay, so
I was like, damn.
No, because you hit me with some stuff. I'm like,
and
wow.
She said some things, right?
Yeah.
But like, so now that changes the whole dynamic on who you date.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? She's not looking for an older man than her. She's looking for somebody much younger than her. That changes the whole dynamic.
Well, if he's my age with no kids, he's still.
Most men is a red flag your age with no kids.
Someone said that, right? Like, I was dating a man who was
You know what I'm
41
saying?
and he had no children. Really great guy. And my sister was like, he's a red flag because he has no children at that age. And I said, is he a red flag or is he smart? Because I'm confused. You know, is he smart enough not to procreate with someone that is not really his match or he's in alignment with? Because if he's single now, he probably would have been single with them kids too, still trying to date. So I heard that before. And I was very curious to that because I'm like, he was a really good guy. It just didn't work out. But I was like, I don't see it necessarily as a red flag because it might be a smarter move because I know too many men that are 41, 42 with children and they don't mess with the children, the mother of their children, or if they do and do whatever on the side, okay. But I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that.
So from my personal experience, right, not from like clinical speaking or a psychology expert, men with no kids of age, like y'all are saying, happen to be selfish.
Oh,
There's nothing they've had to cover their whole life. There's nothing outside themselves they've had to think about or consider.
So is that a red flag?
A selfish man?
Yeah.
I think so.
No,
That's what I
I
said.
definitely think so.
That's what I said.
Yeah, definitely think so.
Right?
However, if you get a man of age who does have kids, you would hope that he is a very active father. Him being an active father also comes with him having to be selfish in order to be present with his kids.
Yes.
So there is an aspect that may be a healthy selfishness, where it's like, yo, I may want to eat, sleep, and shit you all day, but I gotta be a father. So there's gonna be a part of me that may look selfish because I gotta put these kids in a priority position somewhere.
For sure.
Right? And wherever they go into those spaces, baby, you can't go.
And the kids are before the woman, you would say?
No.
No.
But watch this. So in let's just say you and Paul are married and y'all procreate your own little stinkers. You know, I mean, I'm a biblical girl. I'm a Jesus girl. Biblically, the hierarchy goes God, Paul, you,
I
babies.
told her that.
Babies.
Yeah.
But let me tell you why. Men have the honor of God automatically covering them,
Yeah.
right? Women, we marry into our man's covering. So men gets God's covering, we get a double layer of covering, and the kids get triple layer of covering. Why? Because they're kids, they have no insight.
Oof.
They need the double layer of protection. However, love that we're going here. If Paul has you and y'all babies, oh, he got her and her babies. Oh, he got her and her babies. I'm just curious on how in the hell was he covering all 3 women at the same time and all of them kids at the same time. Let me tell you why. Because covering is spiritual, but it's also physical. How are you able to be present and cover everybody all at the same time if they're not all in one space or under the same roof, collectively together every day, every night? One of these kids ain't getting picked up from school from Papa Paul. One of these kids, he may not be able to get to the dentist appointment at the expense of another kid because he has to be there for the kid who's in his household. And the child y'all child, let's just say y'all live together, is going to be getting the equity of him
Yes.
because he's in the house, he's present. How do you think this makes other children feel? They may not be able to articulate it, but they do grow up feeling a little unwanted, even though Paul was trying his best. And I'm not even saying, because you got men who are they are giving everything they got to fatherhood. And they got multiple kids by multiple women.
And it's still tough.
Well, you can't put the blame on the dad. Like let's just speak on that because
Yeah, let's do that.
women divorce the men.
Yeah,
more
women
times than
file
not.
more than men.
So now,
Yes.
if you're saying that the kids feel a certain way, and we gonna take the criticism of it.
Yes.
Well, look, my kids, I didn't divorce your mom.
Yeah.
So it has to be multiple conversations
100%.
as they get older, and you try to explain stuff, and it's like you can't say like, I didn't want to be around you or all that, or I have this new family or all of that. It's
Hold on.
like you gotta.
You can't say that? Oh, you can't tell. So, well, hold on. We can't be honest with our kids now and say, look, baby, your mom divorced me and I have a new family. And I actually love spending time with you and my new family.
Well, yeah, you can.
Wouldn't that be the truth?
That is the truth.
Or is that the hard truth?
But this is the
Or is
thing
that the
too.
hard
But this
truth,
is what you
Paul?
got to be careful with kids.
That's my point.
You
But see,
can't
but that's the
tell
hard
them
truth.
that. You
But
can't-
listen, you can remember, words don't teach, experience does. I don't mean to cut you off. I got to go there for a second. We can
listening.
tell our child whatever we want to tell them. The experience that we give them is what they learn. You can tell a child every day, I love you, and don't spend no time with them. That child will grow up to feel unloved.
And
now-
let me say this. My dad has
You
6
can't-
kids,
you can't-
though.
you can't-
My dad
like,
has...
Like she can't tell me
No,
something I
no.
can't
My
tell
dad
her.
has 6 children.
Oh my God,
6
Azar.
daughters.
We're tagging you in, Paul. We're tagging you
No,
in.
but my dad has 6 daughters. I just want
Yeah,
to say this.
yeah.
My dad is a present, wealthy
Yeah.
father. He has money. He has means. He's married to my mother.
Yeah.
He was married 2 times before and has 6 children.
Before you.
Before my mom.
Wow.
2 times. He has 6 children. I'm the youngest out of 6.
Wow.
My sister and myself, who are from my mother, who he's been married to the longest, got to see my dad the most. My other sisters have gripes where they're like, damn, I love my dad. He provided for us financially because he's rich. He did this. He came and saw us when he could and da-da-da-da. But I wasn't growing up in the household every day with my
Because
dad.
they wanted the true currency of life. You know what that currency is? Time. Time is a true currency of life. It's not green, and you can't spend it. And you can't even describe time. You know why? Because it's that infinite.
Yeah.
It's that important. Paul, what were you going to say? Because I felt like you had something
I don't know.
heavy to say. Come
I
on,
don't
Paul.
know. I don't know.
We were talking about, no, because you were going somewhere good. You were saying that we can't just blame the father. We also have to look at the mother who is filing for divorce. You know, you're going somewhere good because I wanted to talk about that piece because you're on point. And you were saying that when you have a conversation with the child, it can't always be daddy messed up, right? Daddy is the problem,
Yeah.
right? you were going down that lane.
Yeah, I know. I
But let me tell you why I love that you were
lost it.
going there, because a
I
lot of
lost
times,
it.
because
She
kids,
got in. She
I'm
came
sorry,
in
I
oh,
the
you
lost
were
it.
going
Yeah,
somewhere
you
so
can't do
good,
that.
because kids
Sorry.
grow up when the divorce happens and dad leaves the house, right? And what happens is little boys end up resenting their mother, because in a little
No.
boy's mind, yes they do. Yes they do. They end up resenting the mom. You know why? Because in the little boy's mind, if mom would have done right, daddy would have wanted to be here. The only time that a little boy does not resent the mother is if he literally sees his father abusing his mother, and he can rationalize why his mom would leave his father. If a child cannot rationalize why you would leave his mother, he has to, they're kids, they have no insight, Paul. They gotta blame somebody. And if they don't blame you or mom, guess what they blame? Themselves. Now we're really in a self-hate crisis. Now we have a little kid that grows up and they feel shame, because shame and guilt are different. Shame is I'm a bad person. Guilt is I did something wrong. So now we have a child that thinks I'm a bad person because I wasn't good enough to keep mom and dad together. I wasn't good enough for my dad and mom to say, even if I stay for her or for him, we're gonna keep this family together. So there's nothing I did that was good enough to make these two people who are supposed to love me and not drop me, not fumble this family. Kids end up in suicidal ideations over divorce. I have so many kids in my session, teenager, adolescent boys who were 16, who were like, I hate my father for cheating on my mom. I looked in my dad's phone, knew his password, and seen the text messages between him and this woman. And now I'm suicidal. And I want to plan to do it in the kitchen so my dad could find me. You know why? So my dad could see the pain that I felt when he ruined our family.
You know what's crazy?
Paul, that is deep.
Yeah, I understand that. That is super deep.
It is.
But like, it's this is the thing with kids. They're always gonna hear one side of the story when there's a divorce, right? Because they're gonna be in the house every day with the mom, and they can ask questions at any time, and the mom can say whatever. The dad is not there every day, and he can't explain his side, because there's a side of the story and a dynamic in all of this to where the dad is always gonna look, he like the dad always get looks at as the bad guy, even though the dad didn't divorce, right? Which happens 90%.
Yeah.
A lot of the times.
Well, women
But they
file
never-
more than men. You're right.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. But the kids never know the other side of the story because the men don't tell the kids the other side.
No. You know why? It's to what you just said. Because the man ain't in the house to tell his
Exactly.
story. But let me backtrack. Hold on. Because see, when I decide at 42 to be a mother,
This is the year?
yeah, it is. This
You
is it.
pregnant?
Paul's like, did we get an exclusive?
You said
No, I
it's-
took my IUD out about a month ago so that I can be
Okay.
ready to do my
Congrats.
I'm
I
very
What is
love
that?
that.
The eggs?
The IUD is like,
You took the eggs out
No.
and freeze them?
No, the
That's not
IUD
that?
is a birth control method that you put inside of your vagina.
I wish I had a pillow.
Oh,
I
I
would
don't
launch you right at your head.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, I know.
The
I didn't-
eggs is crazy, but
Well,
no.
you freeze the eggs.
Yeah, you do that, but
I know.
that's not
I didn't
what
know
the
if that was
IUD
what it's called.
No,
I
no.
know.
The IUD is a little T that looks like this. It's smaller than this. It goes inside the woman's cervix to stop the sperm from fertilizing the egg. So it goes
You
inside.
took that out. You saying
I had my doctor take it out so that I no longer have birth control contraceptive inside of me.
that's different. I never heard of that one.
Took it out so that I can
never
get
heard
pregnant
of
now.
I never heard of that one.
I never had one, but it's a thing for sure.
No, I never heard of that one
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is at 42, when I get pregnant,
Which is this year.
right? Manifest it with me, Paul. I love you. When I get pregnant, at 42,
Yeah.
am not leaving my husband. Hold on. Because I'm making a commitment not just to him, but to these babies, that we will have two people in this house that can tell you their narrative, their story, and you can choose who you want to listen to. You can choose whose story you want to hear. But I want to make sure that I give you everything that I can. which means if I have to sacrifice a little bit in that household to stay in it, if I got to have meetings with daddy to say, listen, we may not want to be here, but we made a commitment to be here. So what we got to do to make sure we healthy so that the family's healthy. But let me tell you why I say age is important in wisdom. In my 20s and even in my 30s, I would have been in my feelings because emotions don't cause problems, feelings do. And I would have acted out of feeling and not commitment, because commitment's not a feeling. It's you doing what you said you was going to do regardless of how you feel. At 42, I can commit. That's that obedience to my promised land. At 20, in my 20s and 30s, guess what? I'd have threw the whole motherfucking towel in and said, you know what, me and them kids gonna be good because I do well. I'm a doctor. I gotta support a family and friends. Nigga, we can co-parent.
Come on.
But that's in your 20s and 30s. This is why I'm saying to a person like yourself and other people watching, men and women who have already made those decisions, and they end up being bad decisions, not mistakes, because kids are not mistakes, but bad decisions in the way that you happen to, create your kids, the dynamic you put them in. At 42, I understand the power of commitment and sacrifice. At 23, I understood the power of how I feel. That's the difference, Paul. At 23, we gonna tear this house up. We ain't tripping off these kids. We gonna tear this house up.
Facts.
And we'll figure it out later. You know we gonna do that. Call the police. Neighbors, I don't care. What you say? Shit. Come pick these kids up real quick. It's a problem.
Facts.
You know that. But at 42, we giving each other that look that goes, the kids is in this. The kids is, we agree.
Yeah.
Hold on. Once we put little Paul to sleep at night, now what the fuck was you talking about?
Yeah.
Then we can have our little rounds, but we also are standing on a square that we both drew. That's called commitment. And we are not gonna guarantee each other no perfect marriage. We're not gonna guarantee that we even like each other sometimes. But what we are gonna commit to and guarantee, we ain't going no fucking where.
Well,
That's one thing that we're supposed to guarantee, is that I don't know how life is gonna life, but can you promise to be in this life when it life's with me?
Damn.
And you can laugh if you want to, because he got a problem with vulnerability. See, you got a problem with commitment.
Everything I'm taking everything
Paul,
that you saying. I'm hearing
Paul,
it.
at 20 and 30, you end up in the situation you're in because people respond from what they feel, not from what they committed to. And if people would take their time getting a sense of self, discovering who the hell they are, so they can know who the heck they got to choose, they will end up in better situations, and so will their offsprings as well. And then we have the real wealth, which is family. And then we can go buy some damn real estate and take the vacations you talking about taking. But until then, we have to focus on the stuff that really is the nucleus, the backbone of the substance. And I'm going to sip to that. See, he got commitment problems. He laughing and stuff.
No. You good. You real good. Because
you tell me why?
all right, so this is how I interpreted what you just said.
Okay.
So at 23, 30, y'all gonna tear the room up, argue, you out of there.
Both
whatever.
of us, not just me. Everybody, we do that.
So at 23 and 30, them options you had a lot more options. Now at 42, them options then slimmed up. So yeah, you ain't. Of course, you ain't going nowhere.
That ain't it. Now you know what?
That's what you just said.
No, that's not what I said.
It's
But
so many
that's not what I
words.
said.
She
But
said, I ain't going nowhere
That's
at
not what I
42.
said. But he's making a good point. For some people who get of age,
Yeah, she
their
wanted to
options
put
can
up with
become
more.
can become slim. But I can say this: it's usually the man who gets up in age, and he realizes that his options have become slim. So now he wants to marry after he's already created broken homes, broken houses, baby mamas, had multiple kids. Hold on. And he don't got his contract no more. So the money looking a little funny. So he got to make sure that he cashes out while he can and get him the closest thing to what he considers a modern day baddie, who is nowhere in comparison to the old school baddies he used to be able to get when he was in his prime. Now for women who are educated, women who are still beautiful, women who are still keeping themselves
That's
up
a good one.
physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, they just get better with time. And they become a demand, not just only for older men, but for the younger men. And so the women who keep themselves up in that capacity actually become optioned, actually end up having more of abundance of options than they did when they were young. And there are also the women that the men who are their age, like my age, no, they can't obtain, let alone sustain. And so they will stay in their lane. They will stay in their lane because they understand, hold on, She was the woman I wanted when I was younger and couldn't obtain. I damn sure can't do it now that she has become cooked versus still meat that's marinated in the freezer. And that's the truth of it. And if women understood their value, right, as long as they just upkeep their value,
Yes.
right, which is internal and external, then they would stop opting out early on. They would realize, no, my options start to build and expand as I build and expand.
I agree.
And I think men as well. I feel like if men understood their value, then they would not be raw dogging. They would not be sharing their semen with just any women if they understood their value.
Come on.
Those are things that they would double think and triple think.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, I said, I was talking to a friend earlier and I said, the young guy that I was dating for 5 years off and on, I said he had no kids. He was young, very successful, in his field. I said, and what I loved most about him was he showed his responsibility, because in our intimate settings, I never, ever one time had to say, can you put a rubber on? Can you put on a contraceptive? I never had to say that, because in his mind, he didn't want to procreate before marriage. He didn't want to be raw dogging. He didn't want to, even though we might have had 4 or 5 years together and he was in love with me, he was being responsible. And that was a strong act of self-love. Because what he was saying is that, wait, it's not just you know your value, Shy, and you want me to cover up, not just because babies, but obviously STDs, but I know my value as a man. So you ain't got to ask me to cover up, because I'm not going in nothing raw. That is a man who loves himself. There's no man who loves himself and will allow himself to be at the highest risk of STDs when we have HIV and other diseases that are not curable, that are at an all-time high and always have been. That is a self-love deficit. And we have that a lot in our community. That is a problem. And I'm not going to coddle bad decisions when it comes to things that dissipate and marginalize our community even more than it already is. Those are real conversations we need to have. Men need to know that their penis is just as valuable as a woman's private area.
Absolutely.
And they need to act as such. They need to act as such.
I agree with that. That's deep. I have a question. So when you are talking about, being committed, right? Like, so for instance, my parents been married for 50 years.
Wow.
My sister's been married for 30 years. So I come from a background of
But you have no
marriage.
kids?
I have no children.
Okay.
I have 5 sisters. I'm the youngest, and all my sisters are married. They all have children. So I come from a family of marriage.
Yeah.
And my older sister always told me, she's like, her and her husband is successful, multimillionaires, successful, both
Nice.
very attractive. Same with my parents.
Nice.
And, my sister would always say, the difference between myself and my husband and everyone else is that we choose each other every day. That's people ask me, how did you get this man to commit to you? How did I get you to commit to me? It's because we made a conscious decision. And they got married at 23. So it wasn't out of any desperation to make a conscious decision.
Blessed.
They were blessed. But I asked that because I feel like people have some confusion where it's like, where is the line drawn though? Because I can say I'm going to choose you every day, right? And you can choose me, but you could be cheating on me. Yeah. You can have this going on. You can do this. So when I make that commitment, even in older age or whatever the case may be, how can people decipher like, this is commitment, but this is where I should walk away?
I think anytime there's abuse, right, or the relationship is causing an impairment to where you can no longer function, right?
Yeah.
And the normacy of the house is starting to be to the point where, it's so dysfunctional. You have a broken family and people are just not able to come to a reasonable meeting point for the collective, then it is time to walk away.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I don't think it's time to walk away because we have a disagreement.
Right.
Because I don't like you right now. Or because you're doing shit that I just thought you would never do and now we're here.
Yeah.
I think those are all just like, spaces for y'all to do what the Bible says. It says, love your partner by knowledge of them. I just got to learn the newness of you. And I think that people need to stop coming into relationships expecting people not to change. Paul made a good point earlier. He said, I fell in love with that woman. Then the child come and things change so much. It's like, what do I do now? Well, you got to learn to fall in love with the new woman who's a mama now, who's trying to balance these 2 different roles. and you got to be able to communicate with her. And she has to be able to hold a safe space for that man to communicate how he really feels without personalizing it. So they can have a real conversation around what is the reshaping of this relationship that's needed. Because I try to get people to see, because I love marriage. I am like so pro marriage and so pro love that when my clients come in my session talking about divorce, I say, listen, I got a question. Do we really want a divorce, or does this marriage just need to be reshaped? Can we just reprogram it? Can we reshape it? Because everything doesn't need to be divorced and broken and split.
Damn.
Can I ask you something? You know, you talk to married couples, you talk to people in relationships, and you hear the dysfunction in all of it. Why do you want to get married and have kids now?
Paul, I love you for that. I know you're serious because that's a good question. No, because, you know.
Because you hear negative all day.
Right.
And like, why?
That's a real question. That's why I told you earlier. I'm confused about myself.
Because I see people come in my office, and because I'm not a tell me more doctor, I'm not a thank you for your money, figure it out, just come back. No, we work in my sessions. We work. And because I see them come in my office so hopeless, so despaired, so broken, so hurt, so confused, so resentful toward each other, right? And then I see them go from that.
This is what you want.
I see them go from that with the right tools, with the right guidance, with the right support, learn how to love themselves, how to get out of their own way, how to become healthier within themselves, how to identify the little boy and the little girl in them who is actually in that marriage and not the adult in them, and realize, I thought I just loved you, but I actually like you. Now that I know you past your trauma, now that I know you past the little girl in you who's abandoned and broken that I was in a relationship with. For the first time in 10 years, 15 years, I'm meeting the man in you. See, the little boy in you couldn't cover me, but the man in you can learn how. The little boy in you kept calling on me to be your mama, to atone for the things you didn't get from her. I'm here to be your woman. And every time I came mommy you mad at me. You resentful toward me.
Ooh, damn.
But I didn't do that. I'm just here to love you. You can cry on my shoulder, but I can't mommy you. So I had to tell my client, literally 2 days ago, I had to say, listen, the reason why you're saying this woman doesn't have the capacity to do the things that you want is because you want her to mommy you. You got two options, bruh. You either go back and try to get it from where you didn't get it from. Good luck. Or you surrender and you realize I'm never gonna get it.
Yeah.
So I gotta heal that little boy in me, and I gotta move forward without getting it. And I gotta figure out how I'm going to supply that for myself, Paul. Because I told him the reason why this woman doesn't have the capacity is because if she did, God knew she would enable that little boy in you. But her not having it is dissipating your anxious attachment and your codependency. And God has to strip you of what he doesn't no longer need you to have if it doesn't serve you.
I mean, this is the thing. I hear you, Doc, but like, as a man, like when you telling them, the lady that he wants you to mommy him, that's your first example.
Which
growing
one?
up,
Mom?
your mom, of how to be treated.
Come on.
To be loved.
Come on.
How to be loved.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he want that? You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%.
And then y'all call y'all man daddy. So what we talking about here?
100%, yeah.
Like, so don't try to convince him to not want that mommy feel. Like, that's the first form of love as a boy you feel. So like, don't discourage that. You know, I feel like that should be more encouraged. Like a man wants that. This is the first form and the purest form of love that you ever gonna get you ever gonna get. A woman gonna come be your girlfriend, your wife, and leave you. Most black moms, as a black man growing up here, that's the purest form of love. So like,
that's the purest form of love.
that I ever had.
If it
It's
was
from my
healthy.
mom.
But if it was dysfunctional, hold on, and slightly abusive, abuse is not just,
That's love too.
what, abuse is love
Yeah,
too?
abuse is love. Because I come from old school. My mom whooped me. That's called abuse, right?
No.
That's abuse.
No, well, so I don't agree. Okay, I'm not a gentle parent. So I believe in
Yeah.
physical discipline, meaning spanking.
That's whooped.
And I call whoopings.
That's abuse.
No, it's not. So
That's abuse.
So it's subjective. For some people, you're right, they do consider that abuse. For some folks like myself, well, I don't consider my ass whoopings I got abused. I don't know if you did. I wasn't an abused child.
I mean, how we interpret it today, that's abuse.
No, you have some parents. I'm a parent who has no problem with pow-powing on the hand, pow-pow, whooping ass. I'm not abusing my child. As the Bible says, an undisciplined child is an unloved child. I
have
still
kids?
feel loved at 42 because I got
kids?
my ass whipped.
You said as a parent.
No, I'm saying as a parent.
That's what you would do.
Yeah, what I would do, yes. And that's what I received.
Okay.
And because I see the results of myself,
Yeah.
right, I know that it worked. But my point of saying is that if a mother is abusive, and I love you saying that is the purest form of love that man has gotten, you're right. And if that man's purest form of love was at the hands of an abusive mother, then what kind of woman you think that man is choosing? I'm listening. No, that's a question.
I mean, that is a
What
question.
kind of woman is he choosing? Let me go further. If that mother, right, didn't know how to love her son, but she gave her all, but there was a huge love deficit. Hold on. He's choosing a woman who's what? Emotionally unavailable. So what happened was this young man chose a woman who he loves so much, but she's emotionally unavailable. And when I asked him, well, your mom had to be emotionally unavailable, and you want her to mommy you and give you what you didn't get, but this woman is not there to do that, and you're already saying she can't. So she can't conform ever enough to do that for you. You know what he did? He put his head down on my desk, and he cried like a baby. The little boy in him just wept. And I had to tell the girlfriend, or whisper to her, I don't want him to hear me say it. I said, hug him, because I knew that's what he needed, right? But he was in a relationship with who? His mama, who could never hug him, who was emotionally unavailable. So let me tell you what we do. We set up feeding stations in our life at all ages, okay? And the feeding stations that we set up are the feeding stations that we've learned as a kid that is either survival or thriving. And we feed on what's normal to us. It's called baseline. And if all I know is abuse, then I'm going to set up abusive feeding stations in all my relationships because I need that normal baseline for me to function, even if it's dysfunctional. So we have to look at, well, what's your baseline? What is your norm? Where did you learn the norm? Did you learn it from dad, mom? Did you learn it from a group home? Did you learn it from someone who was sexually abusing you? Is that why you're promiscuous? Because for you, sexual abuse made you feel validated. It made you feel like you actually were good enough. But you didn't feel that anywhere else. So now you're promiscuous and you have no agency over your body. Because for you, that's the only way that you're fed. We got to look at those things. So for a man or even a woman, yes, you're right. Women should be nurturing and loving and submitting to their man. Absolutely. But the way we love y'all is different than the way we would mommy our sons. It shows up different. It shows up different. And the beauty of it is you and your wife have no limit on your debt. But your wife and her son do.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so the depth that you can have with this woman, if she can be your woman and not your mama, is unlimited. But when she goes into mama mode, there's automatic limits and barriers that come in that fuck up the relationship. Because a mother and son relationship is unconditional love, but there's limits. There's boundaries to keep that relationship healthy.
Yeah.
What's your situation right now?
What you mean situation?
Like,
Happy?
You got a man?
I'm dating. I'm single, but I'm dating.
Single but dating?
I am
Something serious
dating.
more than other?
No, just dating.
We gotta change because she's therapying us.
Yeah.
We gotta make this about her now.
Right. You kind of therapizing us.
So I was like, I want my woman to mommy me.
Hold on, like, hold on, what's going on with you? This is about you. You done flipped the script on us. We over here.
Reverse Uno.
Man, you sure did.
But it was good. It was insightful.
No, we need to find out about what's going on with her. She dating, single.
dating.
What do that entail for a 42-year-old?
I am dating.
Dating but single.
Enjoying my life. I have really good companions.
How many are you dating right now?
I'm not exclusively committed to anyone, but I have one guy that I have dated
she's
off and
stuttering
on
now. We
for
got
5
her.
years.
Got her.
We've dated for 5 years off and
So
on.
you was his work for 5 years? You been his work? You still his work?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Paul.
I know what's going on now. I'm about to, we're gonna take this sheep clothing off.
Right, the wolf teeth coming out. No,
He was somebody's work for 5 years.
we have been each other's companion for 5 years, and yeah, I have spent the block for 5 years, and it's the truth. And he doesn't like it. He's absolutely correct. He feels like I haven't provided.
Oh, your work.
We working together.
Okay.
We working together.
But you keeping him at bay. Or is he keeping you at bay?
He wants a relationship. He
And
wants to
you
be
don't.
committed.
You just like the sex.
No.
Oh.
Let's keep it 100. How you keep somebody for 5 years? That's like for real. You can't keep nobody at a distance for 5 years. I ain't never done no shit like that.
I am not vitamin D deficient,
No,
everything is good in that department.
No. He
wants
kept
a
him at bay. She
relationship.
done kept him on the side until she figured out if it's something better. I see where this is going.
He just has some emotional maturity that he had to do. We're 9 years apart. He's 9 years younger than me, and so we both had to work through things. But he's had to work on his emotions and his intense insecurities around being in a relationship.
And you've been waiting on it. Like what's the problem? Why y'all not together?
Just because of that,
So you waiting on that?
No, I'm not waiting on it, and I don't have him waiting.
So the D is good.
Oh.
Let's keep it. I mean, that's it's like, dude. Let's
He
keep
put
it
on
100.
his red pajamas and feel like he's supposed to get spicy tonight.
This is clear.
Oh my
I know her.
God.
She from Long Beach.
I'm
don't try to come
You
with
have a problem.
the suit jacket,
Yeah,
the
man,
boots. You still and the glow.
You know what I mean?
You still from Long
Yeah, I'm
Beach.
still-
And I'm from Inglewood. I can see that.
I am from San Pedro, a small
Man,
community
nah,
in the
same
city of
thing.
Los Angeles.
I can see
Okay.
through all of that.
Yes, he has great qualities.
Mm-hmm.
He does well in all that he does with me. He just
That ain't
emotionally
what I asked you.
is.
I asked you about his job and all that.
He does well in all areas.
What's
Okay, she
going on?
answered that. He
No,
does
she
well in
did.
all areas.
Emotionally,
Well, I don't know. That's a broad question. What all
Paul,
areas?
you're
what?
a man, so you answer this question.
I answered.
Emotionally, he goes back and forth from I love you, I want to be with you, I'm mad because you won't be with me, you won't commit to me. And then his insecurities get the best of him, and it's like, I want you, but I'm not sure if I deserve you, I'm not sure that I can facilitate you, I'm not sure that I can be with you. So when I say emotionally instability, it's like him wanting to be with me is concrete. That's not unstable. His emotions in the relationship are just unstable to where as a man, you gotta get vertical within yourself before you can be in a
Doc,
relationship.
you good with these
And
words.
I am.
You good with these words.
Listen,
because
but
you
let me
giving
say
all
this.
these people advice.
Let me say
But
this,
wow,
Paul. He has every right to feel like what I've been doing as far as being in a relationship with him when I want to and not is not something that gives him stability. However, I don't want to commit to a relationship with a man who I feel emotionally is not in a place of being able to be in a healthy relationship.
So why you messing with him? Why are you playing mental games with him?
I'm not playing mental
That's
games with
mental
him.
games.
It's not mental games.
Why
It's
you
all
still-
transparency.
Why is it still sex involved?
How do you
Why
know
is
we
it-
sexing? We could just be having a
Cause you from Long Beach, I know.
Oh my God.
You can't play me.
We
I'm
could
from
not be
I'm
doing
from
the
wood.
do.
I know what's going on.
But let me say this: it is transparent. He understands. I understand. I understand what he wants. He understands why I don't want to commit at this moment with him, which is the emotional piece that him and I talk about openly. I support him in it. I hold space for him in it. We've talked about it intensively, and he understands it. And he's
Come here.
that's what,
Sit. All right, let him off the leash. Go ahead.
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh,
Come
shit.
here.
Well, you
Sit.
know what? If that's what I'm
Man,
doing, I'll say this, and people gonna be mad. And I'm okay. If I'm doing what Paul said,
Come here.
I'd much rather be the one walking you at the dog park than the one on the leash. If that's true.
That's exactly.
So that means,
Come on.
to my point, at 42, I'm not opt out.
Rocky Rob.
We are not opt out. Okay, we have options, and we are not on the leash. We can actually be the one holding the leash. It's all about your standards. It's all about you understanding who you are and you standing in and on your square and you doubling down on that, period. There's men out there who will show up in any capacity we want. We don't have to settle. And we don't have to settle at a certain time. We can do what we want.
Yeah,
Because I
start
tell you one thing
settling.
I'm not doing. I ain't doing time, but I am spending a whole lot of time with who I want, when I want. And both of us are enjoying it, getting what we want.
Come on.
Y'all can't be just taking too long when y'all cook. Y'all gotta start making some decisions around here. Y'all gotta start making some final decisions. This is the final round of Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Shoot, you
So
gotta
who
start
knows?
making some decisions around
maybe
here.
the end of this year it'll be
A
Let me ask you
child.
something, because this is always,
Yeah.
and I ain't asked this yet. What percentage is sex in a relationship?
You mean based on studies or me?
No. I'm asking you, and I'm asking you.
Oh, okay.
Like, all right, what percentage of the relationship, like, because this is the thing, you could be with somebody like you know he'll die for you, he just everything, like you trust everything, that he'll stand in front of the bullet for you,
Yeah.
all of that. You'll trust that this man will be by your dying bed. I'm talking about like thick and thin. But the moment he step out on that end of it, it's over.
Well, I'm a Jesus girl. The Bible says there's 2 permissible reasons for divorce. One is what you described, which is called infidelity, and the other one is unfaithfulness.
That's the
Look
same
up that
thing.
scripture.
Ain't that
So
the
what
same?
I'm saying is,
So what percentage is sex in a relationship then?
for me personally,
90?
because I'm not into casual sex, so
No,
part
you're
of
in
how
the relationship. is
yeah, I'm
what
into it.
saying.
What I'm saying is
Yeah.
because I'm not into casual sex, part of how I connect and express my love is also through the act of making love. And it's also through allowing my husband to use my body as a vessel for his satisfaction. See, a lot of women have a problem with that. And I'm not knocking them, they do.
good.
But what I'm saying is, for me, but that's a love language for me. So for me, like, right, if my husband is saying, in the morning, I just want a quickie before I go to work, I don't take it as he's getting a quickie because he's using me, he doesn't love me. I take it as, oh my God, like I'm being used by my husband. He's
a
using my
vessel.
body as a vessel to satisfy him. So for me, I'm going, I want you to want me for a quickie, for a longie, for an in-betweenie, whatever it is, because now I'm feeling needed by you, loved by you, nurtured by you, and I'm being a vessel for you, right? So my thing is, if he's coming to me all day long, and I've had to tell a client this, if he's coming to me all day long, then that should never be a defining factor whether he cheats or not. That's a character flaw. However, I'm also not putting my husband in the position to feel like, wait a minute, I'm in a deficit because all I'm doing is trying to use my wife, who should be a vessel for me, and I don't even have access to that. So I'm an access woman. My husband accessing my body is also a love language for me. So the more that he accesses me and has his way with me, the more I'm in love and feeling loved by him. But I'm also not a fatherless girl. I've had a father in my life, not just present, but present, having conversations with me that men should be having with their daughters. When I first got engaged, he was very clear. Listen, don't deny him. If he's leaving to go somewhere, offer it up. Make sure that he knows that he has access to it. He said, unless it's abuse or something of that sort, submit. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I was told that by a man who loved me, right? Who never took advantage of me. So his word is bond. And when I've been in relationships, I've been engaged twice. That's one thing that I remember my fiance saying. He was like, one thing I got to say about you, Shy, he's like, no matter what we went through or disagreed with or argued about, he's like, you never denied me sex and you never played around with trying to puppet me with that. And it wasn't, again, because I want to keep him from cheating, because you can't control a motherfucker for doing what they gonna do no matter what you do. Period.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I feel loved when you use me as a vessel. I feel like, you know
I love it. No, this is game I'm hearing.
No, that's
real. This is game. I like this game you giving
I
out.
love that. And
right?
I feel the same way.
But women have to also, and to the women who don't have that mindset because they've either been sexually abused or they're fatherless little girls or they have other barriers, listen, that is okay. Like, you got to work through what you have going on. It's not a comparison thing. But when you get to a space where you feel safe and you look at, again, yourself as, I'm married to this man, and him accessing me is really him using me as a feeding tank. I just think that is so beautiful, that we are each other's feeding tank. And so it's always a feast available for you. And I do feel like if both men and women submitted sexually in all other ways, that say the feast is available for you. Because commitment's what? Not what I feel, it's what I said I would do. And if I'm marrying you, by all means.
I also feel like that, like for me as a woman, if my man doesn't want me sexually, it makes me feel like inadequate. Like, well, is there something wrong? Like, are you attracted to me? Is there someone else that you're getting it from? Like, what's going on? So I personally it's like a compliment to me that my man wants to come and have sex with me no matter what time. Like, I've never been in a relationship and denied a man of sex. Like, it's just that's not something I do. I don't use my sex as a pawn and as a weapon. And I feel like a lot of women do that. And then, like you said, it leaves room for like, okay, I'm not getting what I want from home. And again, it's not in a way to be like, I don't want you to cheat, so I'm gonna have sex with you every minute. It's in a way of, like you said, I don't want people to misuse me, but use me as much as you can, because that's what I'm here for. I want you to want me, and I want you equally. And I feel like if I'm in love with this man, or even if there's times where like love is not always enough, but I know that I rock with you, I know we're connected, I view sex as a form of intimacy. You're inside of me. That's the closest we can be. So when I'm intimate with you, especially because men are different with expressing emotions. So for me, it's like, if you're inside of me and I'm intimate with you and you're kissing me and I can feel you inside of me, like, that makes me feel so close to you. And it makes me feel so loved by you that I'm just like at my highest, you know, like I feel like I could manifest at my highest when I'm in that space with my man. I always want you to feel like you can come to me. And like I said, I've been in relationships where if we stop having sex, I look up like, damn, well, what's happening? Is it someone else? Are you not attracted to me? Like, what is going on? And that's a red flag in my mind. So.
And I love what you said, because I always tell folks, if I choose you, I trust you. But if I don't trust you, why am I choosing you?
Exactly.
So if I trust you, you can access me, right? That's even as a friend.
Yeah.
My best friends, I choose them. I trust them fully. They got full access. I'm accessing.
Exactly.
And really quick, I had clients come to me. They were both 30, and their biggest issue was, for him, she was denying him of sex. And he said to me, Doc, listen what he said, Paul. He said, Doc. And then her issue was he came to her and said he wanted polyamory.
Lord.
Right? So I'm trying to because I'm trying to unravel why he wants polyamory. They're 30, and I'm like, well, is that what you want? And she's like, hell no, I don't want it. And so he goes, look, Doc, man, he goes, I'm 30 years old, and I'm masturbating more than I'm even getting sex. He goes, and I've never cheated on her. I love her. It's been 5 years. And I asked her, has he cheated? She
What
said,
you mean?
no.
Wait, 5 years what?
They've been together 5 years.
Okay.
And I said, has he ever cheated? She
I was
said,
about to say, what?
I know, right? Right now, Paul, what's going on?
A long time ago.
So, she said in 5 years, she has no evidence that he's ever cheated. So we got to go with the fact this man is a good man. He's never cheated. And so he says, when I ask her, hey, I want some, she says no. And I I asked her, I said, well, are you in pain? Is there something else going on? And she said, no. And he said, I said, how do you respond? And she says, I don't feel like it. But she's also wanting this man to marry her. She's also wanting this man to do different commitments. And she also was not okay with polyamory. So I said to her, I said, why do you feel like you have a problem with him, right, using your body as a feeding station? She said, because I feel used. I don't feel loved in that moment. I feel used. I said, okay. I said, but you have a man who would rather masturbate than step out on you because that's how much he loves you.
Damn.
But you still feel used when he makes you his feeding station. I said, okay, but you don't want polyamory either. She says, no. I said, if it's abuse or if there's an impairment, for sure, say no. And you always have agency over your body. However, if this man is telling you that I want you as my feeding station, and you can't see that as being a vulnerability in him, a plus in him, a reward in him, then you're going to have a problem. I said, and he's coming to you telling you I want polyamory because he's still trying not to cheat.
Damn.
And I told him, I said, listen, if you go into this marriage and we don't fix this, you will have a sexless marriage.
Damn.
You will. So what I'm saying is, what ended up happening is this young woman has daddy issues. And the fact that she doesn't feel valued by her father, she doesn't know how to receive love and value from this man.
Yeah.
So her trauma is eclipsing her from seeing this man is faithful, this man loves me, this man is intentional about me, this man wants to marry me, and he's into me.
Yeah.
Right? And so all I'm saying is there's all these barriers that people come up with, and it isn't always the man's fault. You got men who are really in session doing the right thing. And a lot of times men are not as vocal with their women about the issues because good men don't want to hurt their women. So a lot of times they withdraw from saying, baby, you got daddy issues, or baby, this is not okay, or baby, I can't be masturbating he said I masturbate 3-4 times a day, doc.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But they're also
He's
30
built up.
having sex only once a month.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right? And so you have all these barriers in relationships, but when you see people break through these things and you really see them get to the other side, it shows you the essence of love, and it shows you how doing the work works.
He's not black.
Who's not black?
He wasn't a black dude.
He was a great looking, good man, black man, and great couple. They're still together and they're working through it. Those type of stories are very, very
hood.
enlightening.
He ain't from the hood. Something. That's got to be something.
So I got it. I love this. So you're saying a nigga gonna be a nigga,
Right.
right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I am saying
A
that.
nigga gonna be a nigga.
Yeah, so it's
So
something.
you're saying that she got a black man, not a nigga,
Right. 100%.
because he's deciding to try every
yeah,
angle.
niggas ain't taking that.
But see, this is where a lot of men get upset at, because you have good men in those situations, right? With a woman who is not seeing the value in her man because she's eclipsed with her trauma and her daddy issues.
Yeah.
You get me? Hold on. Because if it was a different man, like you're saying, Paul, he would have ran the play he needed to run to make sure he was good.
Nah, that ain't
Hold
about
on.
cheating,
And
but
then-
he would have put the foot down.
But
Like,
watch
man,
this.
We ain't doing that.
But
We ain't
it's-
doing that in this house.
But
What you talking about?
as soon as she would have cried, I'm heartbroken because he cheated, it's to your point. The man is wrong. Without people hearing the context of what even happened
true.
Right.
and how
Yeah.
much work this man has put in.
Right.
So there's good men out there that women are not receptive to because their own barriers, issues, and traumas that y'all got to work through. You just do, because if you run into what me and Paul said, a nigga who gonna be a nigga,
Right.
you're gonna be in my session talking about, doc, I'm brokenhearted. But when you had the good guy
Right.
who was sitting up there trying to make sure he did right by you, run every play,
Right.
you was turning the shoulder to him. That's a problem.
Damn, that's real.
That's a problem. And we gotta be able to call women out too.
That's real.
Not just men. We gotta call women out too and say, I told her, I says, you got a good man. And she said, you know what? I gotta work on my issues because I got a good man.
She driving with her headlights off. That's how it is sometimes. And I do see a lot of women who want good men and then they have one right in front of them and they can't even recognize it. And it's like, damn. Like,
Because we see in others who we are, not who they are.
exactly.
That's it. This is why it's a self-job. I'm only experiencing myself with y'all. If I'm nasty, I'm experienced nasty. I can't see past myself.
Yeah.
None of us can see past ourselves.
You see through your trauma. So
I
I
don't
see
know
from
if she
the
should be a therapist or a pimp.
I'm crying,
I'm
madam.
over here been listening for the last, man, hold on. I'm over here.
A therapist or a pimp is
Man,
crazy.
I'm saying she good. She
Oh, my
good.
God.
She know what she talking about. I'll tell
Therapist
you
or a
that.
pimp, huh?
Yeah, you got the, yeah.
You see
But
why,
I'm,
you see why I'm taking my time, huh?
nah, I can see through that
Yeah.
though.
You see, the therapist is what y'all get. The pimp is what they get. I'm just playing.
She ain't playing. She ain't playing. She ain't playing.
She's serious.
I know what this is. I know what this is.
What is it,
I
Paul?
know
What
what it
is
is.
it?
I know what it is.
Diagnose me. What is it?
I ain't gonna diagnose nothing.
I'm crying.
I know what this is.
I love it. I love it.
Paul said she talking about feeding station. She just a pimp. She got the gift of the gab. Talking about feeding station.
Yeah. Long Beach. Both of y'all.
Well, I'm gonna have men lined up with their little feeding pot.
I'm
They little
crying.
feast. Feeding station, anybody? Feeding station?
I guess we can rap. You know, we've been here a while, man. Doc, you've been amazing.
Yeah, you have.
You didn't.
Yeah.
I feel like I got some good therapy today.
Yeah, you
know what I'm saying?
therapized.
I grew today, actually. I learned a lot today. You know, I've always admired your work because I listen to you. I follow you, obviously. And I appreciate this time right here. But I know this is Long Beach. You ain't
crazy.
fooling me.
I'm crying.
This is like, we get this on camera. There's something else off this camera.
I'm
You know, I know what it is, but you know, that's for another day.
Yeah. We have to do another episode about pimping.
About real pimp.
Because you know, Paul, game recognized game.
Okay.
So we seen others who we are, not who they are. You seen a pimp in me, pimp.
Man, I'm far from that.
Yeah.
But I
He
grew
seen
up-
it first, right? I didn't see it. He
I
seen
seen
it.
it because I grew up around it.
Oh,
and I done been around a lot of slick talkers, you know, from Chicago to the Bay, you know, the Long Beach and Inglewood. you know,
LA.
to LA, right.
I love that.
So then,
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming. I'm also I love what you talk about. You're very level-headed,
Yeah,
and
for
I
sure.
feel like you
Thank you.
just bring an essence to the internet and to all these spaces that we need to hear, and a lot of women and men need. And I really appreciate that because, you know, we live in a world where anyone can get on a mic and say anything. I really value people who are educated, who actually do the work, and who actually have the experience to talk about these things. So I'm really grateful that you came on our show. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you. We fuck with you. And we thank you. So thank everyone for listening to The Truth After Dark.
Before we go, is there anything?
Yeah,
like,
anything you want to leave us with.
like,
Yeah, well,
tell
for
everybody
one,
where they can
yes,
see you.
I'm gonna say that, but I love y'all's chemistry.
Thank you.
That's why you see me. I be on the comments on Instagram.
Yeah,
you see,
you
I be
do.
in the comments. I be in the comments. I love y'all chemistry
Thank
together.
you.
I love you guys. How you guys play tennis. It's so good.
Thank you.
I do, and I love how you check his ass. That's good.
Yeah, for
I love
sure.
it, and I love how you allow it, as you should. You're
No,
learning,
for
you're
sure.
growing, you're
I'm
learning.
growing, I'm
Yeah.
growing.
And thank you for using your platform for allowing me to come on and
Of
give my
course.
tools, because you know my purpose is just to change lives and help people live a better quality of life and mental health. It's a human right, not a race right. So thanks for having me. And y'all, my new book, Mental Detox, is available pre-order everywhere. So go get it, pre-order. It is available November on Thanksgiving. We'll be shipping out everything. And I do want to shout out 50 Cent for being one of my biggest supporters in my career, as well as taking lead on getting me my double book deal with the biggest publishing company in the world. Shout out to
Wow.
50 Cent
Damn, that's
and my agent, Mark. Yeah, 50 went to bat for me. So love
Wow.
him for that. That's my guy. Yeah, but y'all go get that book.
I'm gonna pre-order
You know,
that.
yeah.
I'm
get the
getting
book.
that
It's Mental
too.
Detox, pre-order my book. It's good. And then we have Divine Wilderness, the next book coming out. And then I will give y'all an exclusive.
Come on.
I'll give you an exclusive.
Tell us his name.
I get
She's pregnant, 2025, baby, 2025.
Actually, no, everyone can tune into my talk show, In Session with Dr. Bryant, which is airing every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. This is the first place I've said it. I haven't said it again anywhere else. But we our premiere is July what's that Tuesday, July? What's our premiere? You got your calendar with you?
Come on, exclusive. I
Yeah.
love that. We getting exclusive.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
And
amazing.
the show
7, 14, or 21.
yeah, it's that Tuesday. Yeah, July
So
15th,
15?
In Session with Dr. Bryant, premieres, y'all. It is not a pod, it is a show. And not to knock any pods, because pods are amazing. I love them. And it's all healing. It's a lot of work, a lot of crying, a lot of processing, a lot of the Dr. B-isms that you get, a lot of go deeper. We working. And so, yeah, we're going to go there. It's going to get deep.
I'm excited for that. I'm
I
going to
am
be
so
tuning
excited.
in. So July 15th, we got the talk show with Dr. B. Okay, I'm really excited. 7 p.m. on
Yep,
Tuesdays, Eastern time. That's amazing. I look forward to that. Make sure you guys get her book coming out, Mental Detox Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredible.
Available now for pre-order.
I will be pre-ordering mine tonight. Amazing. Anything else you want to share, or is that?
No,
Okay.
I'm just excited. I'm really excited because I'm really excited for the show.
That's
A
going to be
lot of
amazing.
different networks and people have been asking for it, and had a conversation with 50 about shows earlier last year, and he gave me some of the best advice. He said, do it on your own. We'll make sure that you have the backing and funding. You own your show, you own your license, and go kill that shit, Doc. And so I'm really proud because there isn't what I call like a Black Dr. Phil right now. We don't have that. And we don't have it as a woman, even on television. And so I'm just really excited to bring that healing piece to folks so they can see, a representation of a Black woman loving our people and other people,
that.
but really advocating for our community and healing one person at a time, one viewer at a time, and really just my sheep hearing my voice and being a vessel. I'm excited about it.
Are you going to have a live audience?
Nope.
No live audience. Okay.
Because it's not like a Dr. Phil where we're there just to have an audience. We doing real work.
Yeah.
And we got people who are coming in with real issues.
Intimate.
Really intimate, really processing. And we're doing follow-ups to make sure they get the assessments, the evaluations they need, the processing that they need. So it's
Dang,
some
I
good
might need to
shit.
come on and get some
Come
therapy,
on.
okay?
Yeah. It's going to be good.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I
so
look
thank y'all
forward
for
to
having
that.
me on.
Thank you for coming. We really,
course.
really appreciate
Yeah.
that. Make sure you guys
That's
tune in with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, Truth After Dark. Subscribe, follow. We'll have all her information as well as her book tagged in the YouTube so you can pre-order. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
And we cooked.
Cooked.
We
Y'all
definitely
super
cooked.
cooked.
We super cooked, baby.
We super cooked. We had raw meat, salmonella, baby.
This is to taking over the game. All right, everybody. Welcome to Truth After Dark.
Do you think that men or women are more toxic?